All right, so if you've been thinking about moving to Pismo Beach, California, well, this video is for you. I'm going to be talking about some of the information that the city manager recently brought to one of our meetings regarding infrastructure, budget, services, to kind of get you familiar with what is going on in Pismo Beach, what the future looks like for Pismo Beach, and why it's so strong and is well sought out. So we're gonna get to it, and we're gonna get to it right now. So the first thing we're gonna talk about are what are the services available, or what does Pismo Beach offer the community? And we have a few things here. All right, so we have a fire department, police department, lifeguards, street and roads, park and recreation, water and wastewater. So if we go into the city staffing, you're gonna see on the graph that the biggest city staff that we have are our police. And that's a great thing to have. You know, we're a very safe community. Some of the stats might say differently, but as a local here, I can tell you that, you know, Pismo is safe. Most of the time we have some tourists coming in sometimes, and that's when we seem to have an uptick on some things that happen in the area, because we just have an influx of, you know, people from out of town, and there could be a lot of activity going on the streets, and you know, we have the police to facilitate anything that's needed to keep us all feeling safe as we are out and about. So the next biggest item you can see in services is public works. And that's, you know, it really important. It helps our city infrastructure be maintained appropriately, and they're constantly adding staff to that. So that is something that Pismo Beach has implemented, and definitely wants our community to up and kept up with maintenance. So as you look at the graph, that's what we have going on here. And they seem to be maintaining 100% of capacity in employment in these areas, and have done very, very well. So we're excited to see that maintaining here in Pismo Beach. So going back to the police department, they have 24,800 calls in the community throughout this past year. And then we also have seasonal lifeguards, and they've made 44 water rescues. So if you're driving around Pismo Beach, you're gonna notice that the police department is getting revamped over there on Bellows Street, and they're temporarily closer to downtown. So there's a lot of activity going on. The visitor center's being revamped, and downtown city parking has been revamped as well. Instead of the parking spots going horizontally, they're going lateral, they're going right, you know, straight north and south. So your parallel parking is going to be put to the test if you're coming to downtown Pismo Beach here in 2024. So let's move along to city's infrastructure. The city's infrastructure in Pismo Beach is constantly being worked on. Main reason is we have a lot of tourism, and there's always parking is a huge issue. So that's always been on the forefront of the city's agenda. Secondly, you know, we have hotels that bring in a lot of tax revenue, so that's why you see a lot of improvements in the roads, improvements in just the downtown beautification. Very, very big on that to, you know, facilitate the tourism and our locals, our people that live here in the community. So let's talk about the infrastructure. All right, so let's take a look at the city infrastructure. We have 75 miles of paved roads, 13 parks, including over 68 acres, 11 public restrooms, and then we have 7 playgrounds and 3 baseball fields, 12 city-owned and maintained buildings, and 6 acres of parking lots. All right, so how do we maintain drinking water for the city? We have 525 million gallons of water delivered to residents per year. 17 miles, 395 structures of storm drains infrastructure during our heavy rains last year in Shell Beach area, which is north of Pismo Beach. We were all over the news, and you had Shell Beach was getting revamped, and you just knew that you could not be on the cliffs, the beaches of the cliffs, because they're very dangerous, and they had drain storms going through there. We have 58 miles of water main pipelines, 11 water waste life stations, and 8 water reservoirs. So what are our city's priorities? So we're going to take a look at the list that they have for us. And the first is to maintain public safety. As I mentioned, you know, we're constantly making sure that the tourism is under control, and that the local residents feel safe and have someone to reach out to if there's any kind of activities that are going on that are not appropriate, and that everybody's businesses are kept safe. So that is priority. And then there's the water supply and conservation. There's Central Coast Blue that was on the horizon, and that is definitely a controversial thing. We can talk about that in another video. Housing and homelessness. So that is a big concern for our workforce. Housing, California in general has homes that are just the highest in the nation, and then we're definitely experiencing homelessness throughout the area, and that is something that the city is got its pulse on it, and coming up with some ideas and solutions with housing and different kinds of opportunities for the homeless to maybe redirect themselves to other areas throughout the county where they can live and have shelter. All right, so the next thing is traffic and circulation, parking. That is a huge thing for our infrastructure here. In general, all over the county, it is a little bit tough because we don't have a lot of roads to take you throughout the area, and particularly Pismo Beach. To get downtown, there's only a few roads that take you from the main Highway 1 into Pismo Beach. So that is a constant concern, and ideas are coming up for that. But just know that, if you're moving to Pismo Beach, it is congested, but because it's so beautiful, the downtown promenade, you can see why people want to come and visit here and make it a family vacation, a romantic getaway, retirement attraction. So all of those things, really, really bring people into the area. And because everything's so tight and the roads can only facilitate so many vehicles at a time, and everybody comes in at once, congestion is a thing, especially during the times of year that the tourism comes into town. So that is something to be aware of. If you're thinking about Pismo Beach, however, there are different locations within Pismo Beach that you don't have to be in the downtown and still be Pismo Beach area. On the east side of Pismo, up on the Pacific Estates, so perched up on the hill, where you get the elevation and get the views from afar, that is also Pismo Beach and Pismo Heights, and that's another area. And you've got, like I said, Pismo Estates, and you can veer off a little bit farther from downtown and still have that zip code and be able to enjoy all the amenities. All right, so let's talk about how the city budget is for the fiscal year of 2024 and 2025. So we have a total of approximately 56.69 million and 53.58 million respectively for 2024 and 2025. The total budget is broken down into 6 fund groups depending on the revenue source. These fund groups include the general fund, enterprise fund, capital projects funds, internal service funds, special revenue funds, and debt service funds. So you can go on to this, check out that graph that we have up, and see that obviously that the general fund is the bulk of it for 29.25 million. And this is the city's primary checking account, supports most city staff and key city services such as police, fire, public works, and community development. So I think that's pretty important. And as far as employment, if you're in that field, then that could be something that could get you excited to get over here to Pismo, and just know that those are the top employments right here in Pismo Beach right now for this next couple years. So that is some important information for you. So again, when you're moving to Pismo Beach, just know that it is prime real estate. So that is something to consider if you're thinking about making a move over here, whether it's a vacation home, second home, or you're going to make a primary home. Reach out, and I can tell you different areas that might facilitate more bang for your buck, or if you want luxury, ocean views. There's just different locations throughout Pismo. I lived in Pismo myself. My kids all went to Shell Beach Elementary, so I'm very, very well versed in the area. And I love it. I think it's beautiful. It's well worth thinking about if you want to make your way over here to the Central Coast and not quite sure. And the city is very, strong, robust in its financials. And I will tell you why, because I will tell you how the city is funded next, and you'll see why it's always being kept up the way it is. All right, so the general fund revenues come in really from the city's general fund portfolio. It's made up of primarily of transient occupancy tax. That's TOT. So when you come into the area and you're paying for your hotel, that's where this is coming from. So we have a lot, that's 48.1% of the general funds is coming from our hotels. We have beautiful hotels all up and down the Pismo Beach, leading into Shell Beach. So all of those are facilitating the revenue that's coming in, which is fixing the roads, fixing the infrastructure, making sure everything's looking good and in good maintenance. We're trying to keep up on everything. And when we had the rains, they didn't get hit too bad. The cliffs did because of the beach and the sand and the way the cliffs are. I mean, that's just nature. But they did not get hit hard as other areas did. So yeah, we're looking in good shape. Property taxes is the next, that's 21%. Then we have sales and use tax is the next 11% of the general fund, how we're funded. And that's pretty much it. So those are the big three that are facilitating funds for Pismo Beach. So that is something to get excited about and take note of as you're doing your research for the area. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is capital projects. So for 2024, there's a total of 10.15 million set aside, and these projects will be such things as beautification improvements, play-related improvements, water and wastewater capital improvements, beach access and bluff protection, just I was saying, how we didn't get hit too hard with these rains that we had the last couple years, public safety, parking, vehicle replacements, street paving maintenance and technology projects. So this is our plan. We have this budget right now, so just take note of that. And it does not include the public safety facility proposal budgeted of 50 million. That's separate, and that's where I was talking about what they have for the police department. It's going to be beautiful. They're revamping that old building that's on Bello. So if you drive on Bello, take a look at it and check it out, because it's going to be great. All right, let's talk about the city reserve. So this is what's put away if the city all of a sudden shuts down and there's no money coming in. Let's take a look at the graph. So the general fund reserve is at 7.41 million. So this keeps the city running, as I said, for 3 months if the city experiences a disaster or anticipated event. That is good news for us here in Pismo Beach on the Central Coast. So again, if you need some more information, I thought this would be helpful for you just to get an idea of the funds that are there. And this is why you'll see how a lot of roads in Pismo Beach get resurfaced a lot, especially the one on James Way. If you're familiar with that road, let me know in the comments. But roads are completely getting revamped. Some people weren't happy with the downtown. How the whole parking configuration was redone. So let me know your comments down below if this is something that you're familiar with coming to visit. What you think about these numbers, what else you want to hear about in Pismo. I will tell you, real estate is prime. Real estate in Pismo Beach is holding strong. If you want to have a licensed vacation rental, it is tough. They've cut those off. A lot of the residents are not happy with that. So if you're thinking about moving in and trying to take advantage of that, it's going to be rough. You can do midterm rentals, which is more than 30 days. And you always want to check the city website, because I don't know when you're going to be watching this video. I don't know what's going to be changing, but definitely know that the investment part of it is a little tough with VRBOs and Airbnbs. Midterm, long-term, definitely okay. so far today. And as we know, things change in real estate all the time. So, you know, you can reach out and give me a call, text, email, day, evening, weekends. It does not matter. I love the Central Coast, and I would love to help you figure out where you want to land here on the Central Coast, California. So until the next video, we'll catch you later.